Biologist in Iowa, and he's measuring what we would call a typical Iowa deer. Wouldn't you say, Tom?
Yes, it has one non-typical point on it, but not enough to put it so you'd want to score it as a non-typical buck.
The typical points are all points that rise upward off of the main beam. Non-typical points, and there's always a question on what is a non-typical point, and sometimes a difficult call, are any that fork or branch off of the typical points, or branch or fork off the main beam at irregular angles. But this is a non-typical point. It is, as you can see, branching off of a typical point that rises off the main beam. There would have to be probably 12.5 inches of non-typical points to make it considerable or worthwhile enough to be considered as a non-typical rack for that category. Like I say, Tom's using the cable to its most accurate means to measure the main beam measurement.
And if we were doing it the official, I would have clipped the clip on it, but just trying to get a rough idea in my head what it's going to score. Okay, so we just go ahead and measure it now then? Okay, we'll do it then. Thank you.
The measurements that are typical for a rack are the inside spread, greatest inside spread from the center of the main beams, the lengths of the main beams that you've seen Tom just start to take with the cable, the lengths of all of the typical points. In this case, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 typical points on the left, and it looks like about 5 on the right. And then we take 4 circumferences. The Boone and Crockett measuring system takes 4 circumferences. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those circumferences are added to the total score on each side. Then it's measured to the nearest eighth of an inch, and each inch is equivalent to a point, and that's added together to basically give it a total score. Now, the Boone and Crockett scoring system actually considers a rack for symmetry or evenness, if you want to call it that, and they compare. This is called the G1 brow tine or G1 point, and they compare it from one side to the other. So basically, we're going to measure both of these, subtract the difference. If there's any difference in length, that goes into a column that's subtracted from the total score. So symmetry or consistency is given consideration in the total measurement. In a typical scoring rack, this non-typical point is subtracted from the total score. In a non-typical rack, the non-typical inches are added to the total score. And it's going to be a larger score if it has enough non-typical inches of points to add. This is a very nice typical deer rack. Like I say, Tom's our state deer biologist. Wouldn't you say, Tom, there's some indication from age by the diameters of the beams as you look at a rack?
Yeah. As a deer gets older, it's going to put on more and more mass throughout its beam and in its tines. And within an area, within a region, you can, over time, you can use that to roughly judge the maturity of a deer, if it's still a growing deer or if it has reached maturity. And with the mass that this deer's carrying out, I'd say definitely it's a mature animal, wouldn't you?
Yes, I definitely agree. Yeah. You guesstimate probably 4.5 years or older, wouldn't you? Estimate, Tom?
Yeah, at least 4.5. I'd probably feel relatively comfortable going 5.5 and up.
All right, great guys. Got about 5 minutes worth of video there. So.